What's up, guys? I'm Brad Deberti. My dad and I, we just have our own company. It's under our last name, Deberti, and we specialize in just kind of building wild style cars. And originally I'm from California, a little place called Arroyo Grande, and recently moved to Mooresville, North Carolina. So California obviously is very pricey, and there's a lot of things that I don't agree with in California, so we moved over to the good old boy side, North Carolina, and originally I was doing a lot of racing here, so that's kind of how we found out about the area. But since we moved, we've absolutely loved it. So my dad and I recently just bought a 40-acre farm. It used to be a cattle farm. And we put up our own 10,000 square foot building. And we did everything ourselves. So it's been a little process. In fact, we still don't even, it's a little warm today and we don't even have AC in here. So we got a lot of work to do still, but it's just cool that we finally have our compound. And this compound is called Deberti Ranch. So I always get asked, what do we do for a living? And my dad and I, we have so many different jobs that we're running, you know, around every day. You know, we remodel houses. I obviously build some crazy cars. My dad and I are full-time YouTube, social media. We're at events. I'm racing full-time. There's a lot that my dad and I do together. But I think that's what kind of makes it fun, is my family is very tight-knit. And I'm probably with my dad, I'd say at least 10 hours a day, every day. And I wouldn't change it for the world. We have a good time. So C10 Slayer started out as a truck that we originally created a rendering of the truck, and I wanted everyone to think that when we posted the real truck online, that it was a rendering and not an actual real truck. And that's kind of like how the whole goal with the whole build was. So we're like, all right, let's just throw everything at it. And what's great is my dad's old school, I'm new school, so we kind of mix both those when we build together. And it actually works out very well. So the truck styling, it almost looks like, you know, a crazy rat rod, because it's got a big old Whipple sticking out the hood and the stance of it and everything. But then on the other side, it looks like a JDM style vehicle. Obviously it's American muscle, because it's a 1965 C10. And I wanted to keep that American, like that, you know, that bulldog style stance with it, but also just mix a bunch of things in it. So that's where you'll see there's a big old arrow wing on it. There's a lot of things that don't make sense, but I think that's what makes the truck, because it is so different, so unique. And then, you know, then we got to throw the tandem axle in it. I think that, for me, is my favorite part about the truck, because people's done tandem axles. I mean, there's been a lot of vehicles made, but this tandem axle, what I love about the truck is we didn't do a bed on it, so you could see all the detail. Like when you look at the truck, and you almost can't tell from a picture online when you know, a lot of people are like, why didn't you put a bed on it? Well, when you see the truck in person, you'll understand and you'll be excited that we didn't put a bed, because there is so much detail on the way the chassis is, the way the full suspension geometry works, and how the rear ends actually work. I mean, they're two 4.9-inch housings. One is punched through with a full drive shaft to the second drive axle. So they're full live all the time. So when we do a burnout, that's the fun part. When we burn out, I mean, all four tires, they're all lit up. So it's just a unique truck. So the power plant in the truck is another unique part. Again, I'm gonna say unique a lot. I think there's a lot of unique things about the truck, but the power plant is very intense. So the power plant is interesting. It's a Chevy LSX, and it actually has an injection system on top of the blower, and the blower on the truck is the 5-liter Whipple. So it's just massive, and I wanted it to be like a Mad Max style, and so it has 8 stacks coming out of it, and there's actually injectors in the stack. So there's a lot of fuel going into the motor of this. And what's interesting is right behind that is a fully built 4L80 transmission. So we have a lot of gears that we could play with when we're driving it. We wanted to make the truck drivable. So it's, you know, all of our builds, I feel like we can't just hop in and fire up real quick and drive down the freeway. You know, all of our builds are like full race cars. You have to normally, you know, preheat the oil. There's a process. And so with this truck, we want to have that crazy motor, but we also want to make it so drivable. So that was the reason why we went with what we did. And the interesting part is we're actually running a full factory computer. And a lot of people are like, man, why would you do that? And the cool part is I work with HP tuners very closely, and tuning for us is very important. And we were able to make it all work and all sync up. And there's just the electronics that we actually have is pretty cool in the truck. All the suspension, it's all Mittler Bros Hydro Shocks, it's called. So it's actually a shock. So you have your nice ride quality, but there's a hydraulic on top of it. So I can take the truck, which sits about 1 inch off the ground when you park it, and I can lift the whole truck up 5 inches. And the reason I went with that is, you know, back in the day with working with my dad very closely, he was always doing airbags, and you know that was always the thing. And still love airbags, I do, but the problem with an airbag is you just don't have a really good ride quality. I mean, you could tune it out closely with the shock, but I wanted to do a different route and bring in the technology with the Hydro Shock. And I'm really glad I did, because the truck, you know, the truck behind me, I mean, you could just, I'm telling you, if I want to take my wife down the freeway and we go, you know, grab a bite to eat 30 minutes downtown, we turn that thing on, I lift it all up, and we go. I mean, it's a very comfortable truck. I think that is my favorite part about the whole truck. And the best part is we run it all right off the gas pump. You go up to the gas pump, stick 93 octane in that bad boy, you know, fill it up, put the cap on, and you're gone. So that was another important part. The truck sits at 900 horsepower on pump gas, which is pretty impressive. Normally with an engine like this, you would have to have, you know, 55-gallon drum of, you know, a high octane like 112, 113 to fully operate it. And again, we just wanted to keep it simple, fun, and just hop in and go. See, I've done a lot of events with C10 Slayer. My dad and I, we go all the time doing different things, but you know, we've taken it to Hoonigan, we've been at SEMA, I've been at multiple car events, and I honestly don't know what is my favorite, because I just like driving the truck. There's something fun about having a vehicle like this that is so different. You know, it's not a hot rod, it's not a race car. It's somewhere right in the middle, and it's also a show car, or truck. And so I couldn't tell you my favorite event. All I could say is I just love driving it, and you know, usually my dad and I hide off to the side, and I think my favorite part is hearing the people that talk about the truck, because you'll have some guys, you could tell old school guys come up and they're like, who would ruin something like this? You know, because we took a nice truck. Well, it was pretty rusted, but we built, you know, a truck that should be a hot rod into what it is now. And so a lot of the old school guys do not like it at all. I mean, it's the funniest thing. But then you have, you know, younger guys and older guys. You know, I get some guys that can barely walk, look at the truck, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, how did these guys do it? So I think that's probably the best part, is just listening to what everyone says about the truck. So this truck wouldn't even be close to what it is right now if we didn't have the partners behind us. So the cool part is my dad and I, especially with his history, it goes back, you know, 30 plus years, and the parts on this truck alone everything is top of the line. So things my dad and I cannot afford, not even close. And so having everyone help us on this has just been really awesome. You know, all the way from HP tuners with all the tuning, Whipple superchargers, Chevrolet Performance actually factory backed this, so they actually help us out with the engine and everything like that. Mittler Bros with all the suspension. And you know, there's all the electronics in it is Scosche. So Scosche makes like phone mounts. You would never think they make a full electronic system. And all the ignition buttons, when you guys see inside, that's all through Scosche. And it's pretty impressive. We got OMP, all safety gear inside. So we got I did 2 race seats, and I wanted just simple, you know, buckle race harnesses. I didn't want to do a full 5-point to where it's, you know, if we throw my wife in there, or you know, my mom, it's hard to get in. So we went real easy with all that. But again, you know, the truck, it's just important to me that we had the partners that we've had on it, and it wouldn't be what it is. I mean, when you hear the truck, you know, that's another thing. Gibson exhaust. When you hear that thing go, I mean, it's kind of crazy how it sounds, because we dumped the exhaust right out where the bed would be. So it echoes, and it like lifts the sound up rather than putting it down to the ground. So it's just unique. As of right now, you know, all the shows we do are kind of like playing it by ear. I have mentioned, you know, I'm putting the truck up for sale, and definitely a hard thing to think about. But, you know, with my dad, with what we have with our YouTube channel and everything like that, you know, I wish I didn't have to sell our builds, but, you know, it's life. You know, this is how, you know, we make a living, or part of how we make a living, and, you know, I got to be able to move on. One day, you know, if I ever get to the point, I'd love to buy all of our stuff back, because the memories I made with my dad building them has been unreal. But yeah, there is a potential to sell the truck. If the truck, you know, if we don't sell it right away, I want to start doing some cars and coffees and different shows actually at the Deberti Ranch. And that was the whole goal with building this facility, is to be able to, you know, get the local town together, anyone, you know, within the surrounding areas, and just kind of have a good time. I think the future for my dad and I and my whole family is right here in North Carolina, to be honest with you. We moved here and just kind of like very sporadic. At the time we were filming, you know, 2 different TV shows, and it was kind of crazy. And I was racing some NASCAR and doing stuff like that. And I think we kind of got to a little point to where we love where we are. And, you know, my dad and I have a good thing going here and creating the ranch. And I think our plan is just to stay here. You know, if everything stays going how it is, I'd love to never sell this place ever. I want to kind of turn this into like our big playground. So that's pretty much all the plans that I have. So besides, you know, the crazy power plant and the way the truck looks, there's a lot of things that really stick out to me that a lot of people may not know. And one of them that I like to, you know, explain people is the whole wide body on the truck. So a company called Advanced Fiberglass Concepts, I teamed up with them on this one because they have all the right tooling to make a body like this. You don't realize the body on the truck actually starts from huge blocks, 4x8 chunks of foam. And a mill literally goes in one little ball mill at a time and starts machining the body. So we designed the whole body, and that is machined out of foam and then splashed off of fiberglass. So it's pretty impressive just how it flows on the truck. When you look at it, the body lines flow, everything flows like how you know, an OE like Chevrolet would actually design something. And that's probably the thing that I think sets the whole truck off. And then there's a lot of little things that people won't notice, like, you know, the hood. On a normal 1965 hood, like, it's a big hood, like, it's heavy. It's got to be over 100 pounds. Like, it's a big hood. We've, you know, seamed all the hood, made the hood shorter to hold all the wide body. There's just a lot of different aero on the truck that doesn't make sense to most people, and it's just to, you know, be different. Like the whole rear diffuser I made by hand. That all started off as, you know, paper templates, and I, you know, started breaking aluminum and standing back looking at it. But this is one of those trucks that you kind of just have to walk up, and you're going to be there for a long time looking at it, and then you're going to walk away thinking, what in the heck did I just see? But, you know, half the people love it, half the people hate it, but I think that's what makes it a good build. So my dad and I, you know, we do a lot of the social media together. And if you guys, you know, are interested in the things we do daily, we film it every day. And our YouTube channel is just, if you type in Brad Deberti on YouTube or Brad Deberti on Instagram or Facebook, and then my dad's is just @Deberti, because he's the OG.